So, how did you get involved in football to start with?
Football to start with. I know that I was. Well, my dad used to take me to the park all the time when I was younger. When I was from about 5-ish onwards, just used to just go kick a ball around my local park, Regis Park. It was just more of a fun thing to do back then. Just kick a ball around with your friends, making new friends all the time. It's all kind of just started like that.
Then you started at London Tigers, and then went to Watford on a scholarship. Is that right?
Yeah. So London Tigers was the first team I joined when I was about 11. The first kind of football setup I've been to, and it's because it's a community-based club as well. It's always been around the area, so I've been involved with them since then. And then for the first time, I actually went out of my kind of comfort zone and went towards a Watford college scheme in Bournemouth when I was 17, if I can remember. 16. I was 17, turning 18. And did very well in my first year over there at the college scheme. By January, I think I must score like 14 and 11 or something like that. And then the chief scout at Watford invited me to go and train with the scholarship side. It was near enough 8-9 months I was with them, and then I didn't get myself a professional contract, so I moved on from then.
How was that not getting offered the pro deal? Do you think you've done enough to get one? Is it tough not being offered one?
Obviously, being back then, I was a winger. So when I joined the scholarship scheme at the start, they kind of moved me up top. So playing up top was kind of new to me, but I kind of got the hang of it quite quick. And but there was a lot of things I needed to learn. And obviously, I was competing with the likes of British Sambalonga, Gavin Massey, all these kind of hot prospects at Watford at the time. I had a lot to learn from playing up top. So for example, as a winger, I like to be facing up against defenders, but as a striker, you're kind of, most of the time you're kind of back towards goal, and you need to get all of that kind of hold up play kind of mentality. And me being a winger, I'm trying to always turn, and it was probably one of the main reasons that I didn't probably get a professional contract at the time, because technically I was fine. It was just that kind of the different aspect of football game that I needed to improve.
And then from there, you went back to London Tigers, and then Hayes and Yedin for the 11-12 season. You only played 7 times for them before you went out to Bedfont on loan, and then they released you. How tough was that part of your career, not really getting games when you're just trying to break into it?
I think one thing from a player's point of view, especially when you come out of like a scholarship scheme where you think you deserve to, at least the minimal thing you should be getting is League 1, League 2 offers and going toward, but it's not as easy as that. It's you hit kind of a reality, and I think I can hit a reality because I thought I was good enough to go and play, or it would be easy to go and play at that level, but playing academy football doesn't mean anything these days. I had to kind of work. I knew that after when I signed for Hayes, I knew then, I didn't know how big conference football was, but big by then. At the time, I didn't know how big the conference football was. So it was, visiting places like Stockport County, thinking, how the hell is that kind of club been in a conference? So it was a kind of reality, but then obviously I had to kind of grind my way through, and being at Hayes I was quite young, and they were kind of bringing in established players in week in, week out, and it was hard for me to break in, so I had to kind of try and play football, and that's for me the most important thing was trying to play football as much as possible, and I had to go and find it elsewhere.
Yeah, so you went out on loan to Bedfont, then you had North Greenford United, back to Tigers again, then Hampton and Richmond. A couple of trials with Dagenham and Maidenhead as well.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a trial. I didn't have a trial at Dagenham at the time, but there was a kind of after my season at Hampton and Richmond, I knew there was some kind of talk about Dagenham and Redbridge, but nothing kind of materialised after that. Maidenhead, I was Drax, who was obviously my gaffer at Staines. Before I left to go abroad, Drax invited me to come and to Maidenhead and train with them at the time they were at Conference South. Was doing really well. Looked like I was going to sign and everything. Then obviously I had an opportunity to go abroad, and as you said, coming out of something like Watford and looking at how they're based, and you're going to non-league football and they haven't exactly got all the facilities, everything. It kind of like, it was a bit of a blow for me, and it was like I wanted to play at as highest level I could at the time. So when I got the chance to play to be back home, to go back home and play over there, I kind of just like, I needed a fresh challenge, just reset from everything, and it's one of the reasons why I went back home.
Yeah, so that was the next thing I was going to move on to, was you moved back into the Libyan League. How did that move come about for you? Was it just like looking for stuff out there? Or?
It wasn't. To be fair, it was quite unexpected. It didn't really. It wasn't something that I was thinking about at the time or anything. It was just obviously I've been playing with the national team from under 20s and the youth setup, and one of the managers that kept in contact with me, the director of the football over there, told me, why don't you come back home? They knew what kind of player I was. One of the main sides in my home city, Ahli Benghazi, they're the ones that kind of invited me. They said, come see what it's like. It was never really initially that I was going to go and sign over there. It was just like, come see what it's like, what the facilities are like. And, I enjoyed it, and I just felt at the time maybe it was the right, just to go and set off, and, all the downfalls that you have in football in England. I just thought maybe go over there and just, start a new adventure trip, or whatever you want to call it, just something to just, so
if you obviously moved there with Al Ahly, what was it like as an experience? Because there was civil war in Libya at the time, wasn't there? So
yeah,
you didn't get to, I don't think you even played after the 2013-14 season.
Yeah. So obviously when I signed a 3-year contract, and the first year was really good. It was, I was playing, it took a while for my international clearance to come in, but the first year we was in that African Champions League, which was one of the best experiences that I've experienced. It was, we were traveling to places that I never thought I'd travel to. You've seen the experiences of how professional clubs have kind of run over there. I was going to places like Chad, Ghana, and we kind of did really well over there as well. We knocked out, one of the favourites to win the tournament, Al Ahly, Egypt. You lot might know or not, but they're one of the biggest. They are probably the biggest side in Africa, and we knocked them out, and we made up to like the quarterfinals of the cup, and it kind of brought a lot of happiness back home. But as you said, after the first year, things were going all right. We thought, everybody looked kind of looked like Libya was going the right way, and things were getting better, and then obviously it took kind of a turn after, I don't know, it started, people started fighting each other, people want to start governing the country, etc. And since then it was, it went nearly 2 years where the league wasn't being played, and obviously I was on contract and I really couldn't get out of it, because obviously they kept on kind of telling me that, the league was starting a month or 2 months time for nearly 2 years, and I didn't really get out of that, and for like nearly a year and a half I didn't really play football, so it was just kind of, I was back home, but I wasn't allowed to go and sign for any other club.
And obviously when you did manage to get out there, you moved on to Staines. How did that come about?
So yeah, as I said, Drax was obviously at Maidenhead at the time, and coming back, I didn't really have the kind of CV or the help that can get me to a club that I can proper like move. Could do something quite like move into the conference. Like I wanted to, or at least the minimum was playing the conference. But at the time, I kind of nearly a year and a half not playing. I was still quite down about it, and like not wasting a year and a half, and seeing a lot of my friends kind of making it from non-league football. It was yeah, so Drax telling me why do you come and train with him at Staines, and I like the vibe over there. I like the lads that were there, and it was a good vibe for me, and it was just something I fell in love back with football, being with them at Staines.
So you made your Staines debut against Billericay Town in a 3-2 win. Do you remember much of the game?
Was it Billericay? I don't know if it was Billericay. Was it Billericay? I don't think. At home? Was it at home?
Yeah,
it was at home. Yes, it was at home. Yes, I do remember the game. I think I flicked on the header that got to a penalty or something like that. I think I remember that. We won 3-2. Who scored that? You know what? I'm asking a lot for myself to find out who scored that game. But yeah, no, it was
Hayes,
the game.
Miller, Rodney, and Louis.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jefferson was with us as well. Yes. He's bringing back memories slowly. Yeah. No, it was. You know what? When I first joined Staines, as a player, like I didn't really know much about Staines, but you go to when you saw the ground, and obviously Chelsea were using the ground at the same time with the Chelsea women's. The ground was probably one of the best grounds in the league, by far. And me being the kind of footballer that I like, when I see green grass and the way it's cut and everything, it's kind of a big turn for me. So that was one of the main reasons why I kind of signed it. And but then, as I said, with my time there, I just kind of got fond of the club, and it was something. Yeah, I really enjoyed myself. Really, really enjoyed myself at that time with Drax. For the 2 years that I was there.
And then, so you made your debut in August 2016. You got your first goals start of September against Godalming Town in the FA Cup.
Oh, yeah, yes.
So those you scored 2 in that game. Altogether, you scored 50 times in 110 games. So you got any favourite goals out of that lot that you can remember?
My favourite goals. I think I had one of the memories that stick. Not favourite goals, but I remember scoring a hat trick at Tooting Mitcham away. That was a really good. I think that was the first time I scored a hat trick at senior level. But yeah, no, that was one of my fond moments. But one of my favourite goals. There's so many goals, I can't even remember all of them. Might have been. You know what? We had such a good side there, so we were trying to always play, even though the gaffer was kind of the older style kind of manager. But one of my favourite goals would have probably been. All my goals were kind of the same. It was me and Max, and especially the second half of the second season I spent with Staines. It was all Max down the line, and I was just in the right place at the right time to score the goals. So I can't remember it. I can't exactly put a goal to that. That I remember that I can think.
Oh, they all count.
I have got one. Dulwich away. There's a video of it as well. Dulwich away, where we counter-attacked. We had a corner against us, and we counter-attacked. And then I kind of kept on running and got it, and then just smashed it to top corner. Yeah, that goal was good.
Karagiannis, Weatherstone almost got a touch on that, Sakaja, Beanie, Wilson, the counter-attack is on now. Streaming forward in numbers, it's 4-on-2 if they play this right. Adams for Bettamer, bearing down on goal. Smashes an equaliser in. Dulwich caught out on the counter-attack yet again this season.
And obviously you said you had good memories of that hat-trick. What other standout memories you got from your time at Staines?
Stand out. It's obviously not a standout. It wasn't a standout, but we were close in the second half of the season. The second season that I was there to making it into the playoffs, I think we were a few points off. We had a really good side. It was a really good season for me, personally wise as well. But I think one of the best moments was, I think, when we knocked out, maybe, was it Maidenhead in the FA Cup? And, they were absolutely battering teams in the Conference South. We obviously had a very good side as well. And, we were at home, and we beat them 1-0, and it was just like, it just showed that the level of the team that we had could compete with anyone. And, Maiden at that time got promoted that season as well. And I think they hit a record kind of season, and we knocked them out in their first round of the cup. So it was really that was one of the fun moments at that time.
Like say you're there for 2 years. Was it tough to leave when you did? Like you ended up moving to Braintree in the end, and there's possibly moves on to Stevenage and Salford as well. What was it like for you moving from Staines? Was it a difficult decision or?
Yeah, it was, and it was. Obviously, I had ambition to go and play higher as well. It was difficult in a way, because obviously with the fans, I kind of grown a bond with the fans over there, but obviously at the time it looked like Staines, the gaffer weren't staying there for another season. Jonathan Hippolyte wasn't staying there for the next season, so it kind of like made a lot of our thing, because one of the main reasons why we signed was because of him. Obviously me having an ambition, had a few offers and things that I could have done, and I went done. So I kind of just wanted to move on. I wanted to test myself as much as I can, and I got invited to go and trial with Stevenage that following summer, and did the whole pre-season, travelled with them abroad to Slovenia, did well. It looked like, all that I was getting the contract. We had a pre-contract all agreed, everything, and then it was coming a week before the season started. Didn't really sign anything, so I kind of had to make a quick decision, and it was Braintree at the time, And as I said, they just got promoted from the Conference South into the conference, into the Panorama National League, and that's where I just said, if I do well, then I'll move on. So I kind of believed in myself, and yeah.
And then from Braintree, you ended up moving on to Barnet, because you barely played anything for them. A couple of loans out. Was that a tough time again for you, just not really getting to play, especially given that you'd moved to try and get better standards?
Yeah, it would have been my first professional contract, and I had a few offers. At the time, I did started really well with Braintree, and the situation that we was, the club was kind of having its own situations, and Brad, the manager that brought me in, Brad, was he kind of left, and it was quite. And obviously me starting off so well, I had a lot of interest. One of them, obviously, as you said, was Salford, and at the time, I knew I was having a kid. I just got married, and I wanted to secure, as any other person in my situation, I think at the time, wanted to secure the near future, and Barnet were one of them, and Salford were one of them. I ended up technically kind of signing for them, but obviously, we had. Let's just say the missus didn't really fancy going Manchester, and she needed to be around kind of me, and so I kind of cancelled my contract before it even started, and Barney were there. They were really interested in me. They were one of the main interested, kind of sold me the dream over there, and one reason went, but you see the facilities and everything, you kind of starstruck. You're like, oh, this is where I can build a platform again, and move on to the next best thing. But as soon as signing for them, I think it was 2-3 weeks later, John Still retires, And then Darren Curry comes in and takes over, and I didn't really get any. I didn't get any hardly any games under him. I got maybe a one substitute appearance, and that was it. But he has his opinion. The football's based on opinions. He has his own opinion, and not that I don't think everyone agreed with it, but he just didn't fancy me, and that was it. So I had to kind of think, even the worst thing is that I'm a positive kind of person. Even the following summer I went in, came back really fit, one of the fittest of the club, and it wasn't enough for him because I kind of got reasons that apparently I wasn't fit enough, all of this, and which weren't the case. And when I proved that kind of wrong, that kind of aspect to him, he just didn't get any games, so I needed to move on, needed to get out of the club somehow, and move on to Aldershot.
Yeah, like I say, you've ended up in Aldershot, moved there in October 2019. How's that been for you since you've been there?
Being in the situation that I was at the time, Danny, the gaffer at Aldershot, Danny Sell, gave me an opportunity to come because I worked with him one game at Braintree because he managed Braintree, and at the end of that season, and when I was with them, he did really well. He obviously got a job at Aldershot this following season. Gave me a call. Seeing what my situation was, and I wanted to be playing games. I couldn't waste any time not playing. And when Gaffer gave me the opportunity, I took it without even hesitating. As much as I live in London, the travel, it was well worth it because when you go there, you see how big of a club Aldershot are, and how big they are. They're a league club, with the facility, with the stadium they have, the fans they have, very passionate fans and very caring fans, and they've kind of really welcomed me home. And funny enough, I find a lot of the Staines fans that used to come watch me at Staines, they come to the games at Aldershot. So especially last season when they were allowed into the stadiums, so it was a very family orientated club, and they've welcomed me really well, and I've enjoyed every moment of it, and it's just now about we've had a good season, especially this season. We've kind of achieved the targets that we wanted to at the start of it, and we're getting better, and hopefully if we had a few results that stringed our way this season, we could be near enough in the playoffs. But it's been a strange season for everyone, and as you said, I kind of missed the fans being back in the stadium, and that's one of the key reasons why I kind of signed again this season, thinking about the fans coming back. But obviously, with the second lockdown, etc., whatever, it's been kind of delayed. But hopefully, we get to manage to see them towards the end of the season, and hopefully next season we'll be starting all fresh again, and everything will come some sort of normality.
So you mentioned about the lockdown. How was the whole coronavirus situation affected you, like stopping your season so soon and then having to carry back on again?
For me, it was quite, because obviously at the time before the first lockdown happened back in March last year, I was injured for near enough 5-6 weeks. I rolled my ankle, and I was fighting to come back, and it was, I think, the game after the last game before the lockdown actually happened. I was supposed to be back in, so I was so close to being back fit, and I was buzzing to come back. I think I was coming back against Woking away or at home. Sorry, Woking at home, so it would have been the first time I experienced a derby between them two at home and seeing the fans together. But it all kind of got shut down as soon as I was coming back. We heard about the lockdown, and we all kind of stayed at home, didn't know what was happening when we were coming back, how long the lockdown was going to happen. So it was kind of a lot of it is mental battle, because you don't know what to do. We were kind of staying fit in the house. We're doing classes, sessions in the house with the club, because even at this time, the league didn't know what was happening, whether it was going to be null and void, who was getting promoted, who wasn't, and it was just kind of a waiting game for a while. And then obviously, I think in July they made the season. We saw who got. We saw the playoffs obviously and everything, so they continued with the playoffs. And it was very strange. I think it was strange for everyone. And I can understand how difficult it can be. Being stuck sometimes at home for so long, it's not really ideal, because you want to get your fresh air, you want to go out, but yeah, it was thank the kids kept me busy here, so it's been it's just a lot more time with my kids and with my missus, and it's they've kept me not thinking too much about anything else but them, and work, football and everything. So yeah.
And so you say you basically met your Aldershot targets for this season, to you're 11th in the league at the minute. What are you hoping for the rest of the season, and then pushing on into next season? Like more of the same, bit of a playoff push?
I think if you see, we are very capable of being any team in this league. We need to be a bit more consistent this season. But if you watch our games, we have a really good side with us, and some really good players. And if we keep the core, of the team, I think we have every as much a chance to get into the playoffs next season. We've got a really young squad, one of the youngest in the league. So with a few additions, I think we can really push on. I think the club deserve to be in the league. The fans deserve to be in the league, and everything's kind of set up for them to be in the league. We haven't got exactly the highest budget, but we have a really good bond between each other, and I think come next season, I think we really will push on, because we're not that far. Even now, we're not even that far, but with not a lot of games left, we've made it hard for ourselves kind of to get into that situation. But it's a massive improvement from where we was last season, fighting not to get relegated. So and the club's been kind of in that struggle for the last few years. So not to be in that situation now, we want to just we keep looking high, and the management staff done really well. They've brang, and it's we're just now looking forward, looking towards, we're looking up rather than down.
You briefly touched on it earlier, like back to Libya. You played for Libya under 18s, under 20s, under 23s, and you finally got a full cap in a game against Equatorial Guinea in November 2020 in an AFCON qualifier. You lost the game, unfortunately, but you scored on your international debut. What was that like for you?
One of the things I've always wanted to do was to obviously play internationally and play for my home country. My dad's obviously from him being there. It was a near, like, honestly, I can't even describe the feeling, the experience that I had over there. To finally represent them, and to actually be involved with them. I think a lot of people kind of didn't back me, especially back home in Libya. They think a player playing in the 5th division of English football was like, what the hell? How is he playing for our national side? La, la, la. But little do they know how high the level was here. So I went there, but as I said, I always have. I backed myself in any situation. And I went there, and to score my debut, I think if you see the video itself, it shows you kind of how the emotion that I was kind of feeling.
In 2018, and then decided to stay after signing a full-time contract. 5 years at Al Ahly, so he knows Cairo very well. That's great play, good opportunity. This is the ball comes back. Oh, it's taking a deflection. He scored on his debut. Look at him, he's so happy. How about that, the Aldershot man, Bettamer. They call him Mo Bettamer, and he is celebrating a very important goal there for Libya, the Mediterranean Knights. jumping with joy, and it couldn't have come at a more crucial time. They just scored their equaliser from the penalty spot, and look at this for slack defensive play. He gets himself away from his marker. There's a little bit of a lucky deflection, and it's once again some good work down that right-hand side. And he's just able to just stab the ball home from close quarters. And there's your 2-1 lead for the Mediterranean Knights. And now they're in a very good position to try and push through in this competition and get themselves 6 points from 3 games.
We were 2-1 up, you know. I think it was around the 88th minute, we were still 2-1 up. And, you know, I got a cramp, you know. The adrenaline was still rushing in me, and to concede 2 goals in the last 3-4 minutes of the game really killed us to get thing. But you know, it's a hell of an experience. So obviously, we weren't at the time, we weren't allowed to play in Libya. We were playing in Egypt, and so we kind of missed the home fans. And obviously with the coronavirus, you know, protocols, there was no fans at the game, and that's probably one of the things that I kind of not regret, because it wasn't in my hand, but you know, that I missed was maybe that, because that's, as a kid, you want to play for your international side and score goals. And you know, I played and I've made the 2 appearances and scored, and you know, my family are proud, and you know, I want to keep making them proud. You know, there's still a lot more to come from me, even at this time.
Yeah, and then in the 2018 Canifa World Football Cup, he was a bit of a controversial selection for the Barawan football team. What was going on there?
As I said, with my friends, I have a really good friend of mine who really invited me to come to the tournament, and you know, I got involved. Like a lot of people that I knew then, you know, they were playing for other countries or other teams in the same tournament, and yeah, I got myself involved. So I remember it was Ramadan as well. I was fasting, and yeah, that's how it was. It was, as I said, like I go to tournaments every summer. So when I get invited to go to playing football tournaments, I don't say no. And I kind of went there, and the next few, I didn't know how big it kind of was, you know. With and then I got, obviously there's a bit of controversy with me being involved, but it wasn't. I don't know what the situation was, and to be fair, even until now, I don't kind of really know the situation, what was happening over there. But I went to go enjoy football. That's all I can say. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's about it.
That's fair enough. Just a couple more questions. Just going back to Staines. If you had to pick a 5-a-side team from all the players you played with, you don't have to include yourself, but you can if you want to. Who would you pick?
It's a good one. Jack Turner, keeper. I think he's probably one of the best keepers I've seen in non-league football, or even in football, because I remember the first season, the way he would pick me out all the time, and with the technique that he has and shot stopping skills is unbelievable. Definitely one of the better keepers in non-league right now. So yeah, he'll be my keeper. Defensively, who would I have? One, because I'll play one diamond. I would probably play. You know what? At diamond, I'll play Wada Ahmedi. He's probably one of the better. As I said, and I've said it, I've alluded to it before. One of, or if the best player that I've ever played with in football. You know, with him, I don't think he's kind of had the light on him to move on to the next level. But you know what? And I think anyone that knows him and seen him play knows how good this kid is. And well, no, he's not a kid; he's older than me. But he's how good he is. And I feel like with the right push, if he had the right push, he could have really done really well. But you know, football is not exactly a fairy tale. And yeah, no, but he would have been in the squad. He would have been that team. I'm not going to put myself in because I don't think it's fair. But I think who else did I have said? Max, Brownie. Yeah, that's who I'll put in. Dumb lot. Max will shoot. He's got a good left foot on him. Brownie wants to play. Weather wants to play. Who else would I put there? I'll probably put two Brownie brothers. You know, they were really good. The type of team that I would pick is them lot. So yeah.
Lastly, you got any message for the Staines fans that will be watching this?
Obviously, since then I've actually turned up. We've had a pre-season game with Aldershot at Staines. The recent pre-season, it was good to see a lot of the fans there. You know, I recognised a few faces. It was good, really good to see a lot. I do actually keep up to date with what's happening out over there. I hope, you know, the situation off the field is improved, because you know what, the club doesn't deserve anything less than good things happening to it, because they shouldn't be in the league they're in, and they should, you know, they wasn't a Conference South, a very well established Conference South side, and you know, hopefully in the near future they'll be back near enough around there, because the fans, the facilities they have is up one of the best at these levels, and hopefully I'll get to see a lot again soon, because you know, I've always been fond of the club, and they've given me the avenue. They started, you know, the journey for me, especially when I came back from abroad, to move on and do better things, and go on to, you know, trying to prove myself now at the Vanarama National League. So yeah.